So this was a lovely surprise to kick off this week's episode of AEW Dynamite because Bryan Danielson came out to do commentary, and of course we are in Glasgow, so this place went totally crazy. And then Dynamite continued to tick away, and we got crime. A lot of crime. Also, hello my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need because I watch sports entertainment so you don't have to. And yes, AEW is on my shores this week, so I will be there at Forbidden Door. Please do come and say hello. And also, I'm going to warn you now, I've been invited to the press conference, and given some of the madness that happens online about press conferences, I am probably, if given the opportunity, going to ask a daft question. I mean in a fun, positive way. I already know what it's going to be. It's going to be a ha-ha, funny. So if you want to get mad, you can get mad about it now. But I'm very excited and to say hello to all of you. But as for now, let's give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down for AEW Dynamite. Will Ospreay also walked out right after Danielson, so these fans just like, this is the best thing ever. And I have to admit, this is one of the scariest promos I have ever heard in my life, because William essentially told us he's not cleared for Forbidden Door, that's why it is an unsanctioned cage match, and I thought, well, that's a nice way to tie it to the story, when he insinuated very heavily, and let's remember he's a babyface, so I don't need to think he's going to lie or exaggerate about this stuff, but when all is said and done, he may have to have neck surgery. It'll sound like he is going to have neck surgery. And if anything bad does go down, it's not on AEW, it's not on anybody else, it's totally on him. Now listen, I don't need to become Will Ospreay's dad. He does not need that. I don't want to patronize him. But a small part of me, quite a large part of me, was like, well, maybe somebody else does need to step in and say, listen, that's great, Will, and we understand that you're in your hometown 30 minutes from your front door, but this is not a good idea, it's not going down. Now, I can't really say that either. I'm being a massive hypocrite, and listen, I do not perform on Will Ospreay's level, and the injuries I have had are nowhere near what Will is going through. But yes, there have been times when there's been cool opportunities in front of me, and I also have been hurt, and you kind of tape yourself up, and you just get it done, because I suppose we all have weird brains. But at the same time, yes, just to repeat what I said, this was super duper emotional, because when you looked into his eyes, well, he even said it himself, when he does come back from this, he's seen what happens to other wrestlers, and he may never be the same again. There are other lines in here as well, such as the Death Riders have made him feel mortal, because there was a time in his career where he didn't think he's actually going to be able to get hurt, and now, yeah, he's probably going under the knife. So listen, this is just me ranting and raving as we always do, but I just want to send all the best to Will Ospreay. I hope he is okay, and if he is about to have neck surgery, well, he's going to be out for a long old time. So yeah, I just take my heart like I'm a Care Bear, and I turn it to Rio and just go, and I send it his way. I just want him to be alright. Of course, this all comes down to getting some revenge against Jon Moxley, and as we had said his name, as per Wrestling Rule 14 point out, Mox came to the ring, and of course he was with Marina Shafir. They're just a package these days. And Jon Moxley looked at Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay looked at Jon Moxley, but before they could do anything, here came Claudio Castagnoli, here came Wheeler Yuta, so here came Kevin Knight, here came Mike Bailey, and here came Tanahashi. And I understand he has no more knees, but he's just absolutely the best, and they got into a bit of a fisticuffs because, of course, right now, we were going to have a six-man tag. So it is quite hard to up and down this, because the upping and the downing is a gimmick and it doesn't matter. And this is a man's health we're talking about. Listen, I'm just going to say terrible things again. I just hope that he has had the relevant conversation with everybody. He doesn't need me saying that to him once again. He is a grown-ass man. I'm just concerned. And send my love out to him. But in terms of building that cage match, I will give it an up. I mean, talk about jeopardy. I think I'm literally terrified. When indeed we did get the Death Riders taking on Tanahashi and JetSpeed, which once again proves that 2025 is a totally crazy world, and it was just a really fun, easy to watch smash-a-thon. Whatever that means. Tanahashi also got into it with Moxley, which is always cool to see when, bam, we put a one on the dick board, because of course Marina Shafir was like, Kevin Knight, I can see your leg, and he tripped him up. Getting a bit worried about all the professional wrestling at the moment, because distraction, interference, and confusion does seem to be the way. But you know the deal with me, we shall take it on a case-by-case basis. Now, thankfully, even though the referee didn't disqualify the Death Riders, he did tell Marina, you have to leave, when it was Will Ospreay that actually came out and took her away, and at one point it looked like he'd put her in a body bag. I was like, I don't understand how we've got here anymore. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check the law book. I don't think you can do that while on the crowd counter. Kevin Knight then did a dive, so we put a one on the dive board as well when it was Tanahashi that got the hot tag. And yes, once again, I understand this man has no knees, and yet he's still got something about him. And that's why professional wrestling is brilliant. If it was a quote-unquote real sport, the ace would have had to have retired years ago. But because wrestling is totally wacky, you still get him to do his thing. And let's not forget this is his retirement year. We got to enjoy him. Now, apparently we needed even more distractions. So I was like, what the flub is going on? Because New Japan's War Dogs walked to the ring. This is when poor Tanahashi was kind of walking on the top rope and his crutch went into the thing. Nobody needs sore balls. It was around this time when Ospreay did walk back out with the body bag, and this one was a perfectly fine description, because no matter what walk of life you're in, if somebody is holding somebody in one of those, you would look over like, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? And Wheeler Yuta must have been totally perplexed, because Tanahashi hit the high-five flow, and he got the 1-2-3. Who the flip is Tanahashi? Of course, the War Dogs jumped in after this. The Young Bucks were like, yeah, we can do it too. When for some reason, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly were here to take out Matt and Nick Jackson. And listen, if you understand the history of all those guys, it was super duper good, especially because they are going to have a match on Collision. But in terms of the story up to this point, it's like, why on earth are you here? I don't think that you cared. This is when the Death Riders went to get Marina out of the body bag as well, which is quite the sentence. But of course, magic had happened, and Darby Allin was in there instead. And this essentially ended with everyone being cajoled together as Darby did a coffin drop into the pile. He's flipping nuts. Samoa Joe and the Operations also came out to try and calm things down. And it was the bad guys that had to run away here, so I suppose they're winning at the weekend. But you just never know. You do not have to tie into wrestling tropes. So of course I'm going to give it up because some of this was laugh out loud in a good way, especially with the UK crowd that ate it up. But even though I am excited about the match on Collision between the Bucks and the Paragon, whatever the flub we're calling it, I am just going to give it a teeny tiny down because it just felt like it absolutely came out of nowhere. So it's just too random. And it's a bit like, what are you doing? You want to be Boy Scouts? You want to be good people now, even though in the past you've kind of been absolute goobers? That's a minor thing. It doesn't take anything away from this match. It was a great way to kick off the show, and of course build to this cage match, which is officially going to be the scariest thing of all time. When we got this great video for Hangman Adam Page versus MJF that is going down on Forbidden Door, when out came Adam Copeland, out came Christian Cage, and listen, as we talked about last week, this also felt like it was in fast forward, but these two dudes together are just so damn good. They could have sat there and played chess and I still would have had a good time. I like it. And sometimes you can't help the things that you like. Now, AEW did do a really good job in saying, oh, by the way, Edge, as I'm just going to call him now, because I'm going to screw this up anyway, because they have rejoined, but Edge gave Christian Cage a hug 7 days ago, but Christian didn't really reciprocate. At one point, I was like, given their roles and the things that Adam has said to Christian, I actually think it made more sense if Christian Cage had hugged him and Adam Copeland would have been like, man, I ain't going with that, because Christian Cage could do the nicest thing in the world, and you'd still look at him like, you know what, I don't trust you. The first thing he did is grab the microphone and he told the Glasgow fans to sit down and shut up. When Adam Copeland grabbed the microphone, he's like, why are you like this? Why do you do it? I told you to calm down and you just won't listen. And that was it for me. I felt it right away. I missed them together. He then had a great line because he said, listen, you are an asshole, but at least you're my asshole. Then had this facial expression like, well, I didn't mean it like that. But removing the innuendo aside, everybody's got a buddy that is a bit of a dick. Be like, well, I guess you're on my side. Tony Schiavone then asked Christian Cage if he had gone away to find himself, and Cage went, yes. And I've returned and I've realized I'm perfect and I don't need to change a thing. You can see why I enjoyed this. It was essentially goofy wrestling for life. He understands that they can't trust each other now as well because there is too much scar tissue, but at least they have a business arrangement here because Christian needs to take care of Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, whereas Edge needs to take care of FTR, so why don't they help each other out? Now, there was just a teeny plot hole here. I was like, didn't Adam Copeland say he understood where Nick and Kip were coming from a few weeks ago? But I guess that happened in the past, so now we just have to forget about it. Just imagine you've been Men in Black flashy thingy. It also means that allies of convenience, I shouldn't have said that, I am sorry, when Christian said, listen, my friend, I know my word as of late has meant nothing, but I promise you, if we can get on the same page, I will be the best partner I could ever be. Nobody believed him. This is why he's so damn good. So actually, the idea of taking both these characters and having them exist in the same pocket, but still being true to who they were originally, if that made any sense, I actually think they did a very good job. They did shake hands, which of course meant it was time for the interruption, so Kip Sabian and Mother Wayne came out. It was actually sad news. They were like, yeah, Nick Wayne can't compete because you, Adam Copeland, broke his foot last week. When Nick Wayne appeared on the big screen and he said all of this, I was like, is this video meant to be live? Because it makes absolutely no sense, but don't worry about it, because they have got a replacement. This was one of the best things on this Dynamite. Luchasaurus or Killswitch returned. If we go with the rumors that are out there, he is lucky to be alive, man. So the fact he's back in the ring, that is totally excellent, and it made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. He also made sure to murk both these guys and gave them choke slams, but he did go raw, because that's what Luchasaurus would do. And this kind of summed up how mad this story is, because when Luchasaurus left, Christian Cage was being absolutely horrible to him, and now he has got his revenge, but Christian's in the babyface role, essentially, and Luchasaurus is the bad guy, even though he is coming back from a terrible illness. So I'm not saying this has been smooth sailing, but once again, my goody two-shoe feelings have taken over. Seeing Edge and Christian together, honestly, made me happy. They just have such good chemistry for obvious reasons, and Luchasaurus coming back and just being able to wrestle again, how can you get angry? And how can you get bogged down in the small stuff? Sometimes, you know what, it doesn't matter. He's also going to replace Nick Wayne at Forbidden Door, so we do have a tag team match. And also, there was a second person in this Luchasaurus video, and if I were to hazard a guess talking about people returning, I would say that maybe, just maybe, it's Jack Perry. So yes, my heart did pang for Christian Cage and Adam Copeland getting back together, and Christian was so good during this. Like, he's just the best. I find him disgustingly entertaining because he's a wonderful asshole. So if I can get to the end of it, and even when I pick and pull things out of it, I still knew I had a good time. Damn it, I'm giving it an up. We then had the shortest video of all time because Mark Briscoe just went, you know what, MJF? I have flown halfway around the world to kill you. Now that, Mark, I think you should have said that. I mean, one on the kill counter, not the kill counter, we're not going to start one of those. One on the crime counter. But I mean, given what was going to happen later, I don't want to say he brought this on himself, but he certainly stoked the fire. This is when MJF turned his back on me as well because he found Ricochet and his new crew. And he said, listen, I don't want to talk about you because bald people freak me out. I felt that one, and I was like, there's no need for that. Now, he may have been facetious here, because there is a rumor about MJF's own hair, which is totally fine, by the way. You're allowed to go do that thing, should you choose to do. But I only heard the words, and now I have to go crying to my cornflakes. Anyway, he wants Ricochet to help him with Mark Briscoe, because he knows that Ricky hates Mark too, which is true. They basically had a feud a few months ago, and Ricochet was like, even though I enjoy watching you squirm, you know what, I will help. And that is going to tie into later. I also have a point about this, but we'll wait till then. Before that, though, it was the finals of the AEW Tag Team Tournament, FTR taking on Brodido, or Ban Brodo, as I keep calling them, which I think is a better name. And honestly, massive applause all round. I'm not even going to stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. I am just going to give it an up. Because not only has AEW gone out of their way to make this tournament feel so damn important, this was a terrific match, and actually, you know what? If you put a gun to my head, I'd say there's no need. I'd do the show anyway. I think it was pretty much a Tag Team Dynamite classic. We also had stories in here as well, because Stokely Hathaway at one point just thumped Brody King with a pipe that he'd snuck into the sling that he was wearing, and Brody King was bleeding, and Bryan Danielson commentary was like, oh no, Brody King is so strong, but now he's totally screwed, and that convinced me, well, there's your get out of jail free card. That is how FTR is going to win. But that's not what we did at all. Instead, they were just running around the place. They were pounding each other. Not like that. Don't be a disgusting being. There were some dives. I put on one on the dive counter. But I would just implore you, if you have 20 minutes today, just sit down and watch it because you've got the old school sentimentality of FTR taking on the crazy coming together of Band Brodido, whatever the flub you want to call them. It was just excellent and everything I want from modern day tag team wrestling. Cash at 1.2 got totally crushed on Barry Barricade as Brody King splashed him. And when FTR went for the powerplex, Brody just started strangling people. And I was like, you know what? That is the greatest defensive move I've ever seen. Because, you know, if you want to stop someone, murder them. Or apparently do some strange shake. Now it's important to point out the Hurt Syndicate were watching all of this because, of course, it ties into who they're going to be defending their titles against on Sunday. And at this point, they looked really worried because, once again, there was some strangling. Now, I actually didn't really like the finish, all things considered, but I do think if AEW is going to do time draws, we just need to start mentioning the time a little bit more randomly during other matches that aren't going to end on draws. Because here, at one point, everyone's like, oh, by the way, we've reached 25 minutes, just so you know, 25 minutes. So it kind of gave the ending away before you got to the ending, but yes, the time did expire, which means now it has to be a three-way on Sunday. And if I were to hazard a guess, I think that the Hurt Syndicate will lose their titles without being pinned. And you know what? It's totally fine. I don't care. I don't want to get bogged down in it, because if we're going to get matches that are this good, well, I tell you, son, I'm going to have a wild ride. The final few minutes of this were totally bonkers as well, and if they hadn't started mentioning the time, I honestly would have been like, I have no idea who is going to win this. So the whole tournament has been a massive success, and whoever does walk away with the tag team titles, let's get them back up to where they were a couple of years ago. This was truly, truly wonderful. Let's gig it up. We then got a video for Swerve versus Okada, and listen, while this was a very good video, and maybe there's going to be more stuff on Collision, I kind of feel like we needed something more here, because whether you like it or not, Dynamite is the A show compared to Collision. So it kind of made me a little bit disappointed. So I am going to give it a down, because it's Swerve Strickland versus Okada, man. They are two of the most important people in the entire company, maybe even the world. When I don't know what to do. I mean, we'll turn to the crime counter. There it is. It has to go up by at least 3. we had kidnapping, we had attempted murder, I suppose, but we also had blackmail. All in one AEW Pro Wrestling segment. Hangman did walk out here and the place absolutely exploded because he is the mega baby face. And he was all like, oh, MJF, of course you attacked me last week. You're just a damn coward and you got no morals and you're an opportunistic asshole. Everybody understands that you are a piece of trash, including me. So come Sunday, I'm going to whip your butt. Well, actually, no, he said he's going to stick his leather pants up his ass. And please don't do that. I do not want to see that, especially live. When we cut to MJF, and he was with the Gates of Agony and Ricochet, and Mark Briscoe was there, beaten half to death, and he was tied up. Straight away, I was like, you know what, Toto? We are not in Kansas anymore. Now, MJF reminded Adam Page that he can't handle his anger and does go full Hulk. That's when he makes mistakes. And I was like, well, this segment isn't going to go anywhere because somewhere the cops have been alerted to this and they'll run it any time to calm it down because, you know, you can't tie somebody up for a chair. Then I waited and I waited and I waited, and apparently they don't give a flop because no one came. So we're just going to let this man die when Maxwell made it clear what Hangman Adam Page would have to agree to in order not to murder this individual. One, on Sunday, the title can change hands by disqualification. Two, it can change hands by count-out. But number three, he doesn't have to cash in his magical contract. And in fact, this is a one-on-one match via normal terms. So if it doesn't go his way, he can still use it in the future. I was like, well, as evil plans go, that one is pretty good. The Gates of Agony then quite literally handed a lighter to MJF. So he was going to do this. And the most hilarious part is that Hangman Adam Page didn't agree to this until they almost got to 5. That's right, he thought about it for 4 seconds. Like, well, should I agree to this? Or maybe Mark Briscoe could just burn a little bit. I mean, he is tough. And my big question is, even though Maxwell Jacob Friedman said this, surely straight afterwards Tony Khan walked in and said, yeah, you know, you can't do that. Like, we have broken many laws here. There's no way it's going to go down. It's still going to be the same stipulations that we did roll out. But he didn't do that, and now all of these are going down. So some of this really was 2 + 2 = potato, and Hangman Adam Page is just the best. Because he stormed backstage and just assaulted Ricochet, who had a meltdown, and got hit with a steel chair. This is why I love Ricochet, man. That dude just totally gets it. He also found the useless wrestling security that told Hangman, sorry bro, MJF has left the arena. What is your job, useless wrestling security? Surely it's to watch someone commit a crime and go, guys, I don't think we should let him leave, but you did, you suck. This was so funny in the best possible way, and you know my deal. I don't want wrestling to be over-realistic at times because you just take away the magic from what sports entertainment is. For example, I want someone to be thrown at the Royal Rumble and then get back in and throw somebody else out, and that's totally okay. I want the camera to cut backstage and see a bunch of bad guys going, ha ha, here's our evil plan, even though there's a camera in their face, and I want to believe that an Irish whip could work. If you don't know what I mean, go and try it today. It's gonna fail. I also think this did an absolutely grand job in making me go, is MJF going to win the championship on Sunday? Because now I believe he can, because he can do whatever he wants. And if he gets beat in a normal match, he could use his contract straight away. So even though it was totally crazy, and totally insane, and totally nuts, and totally over the top, I thought it was wonderful. I think all of wrestling every now and then should figure out a way to bring it in. And if you were trying to explain who's the bad guy and who's the good guy, well, there you go. So I am going to give it an up, but we have to remember this going forward now. If you want to murder somebody in AEW, you're allowed, and everybody will acquiesce to your demands. However, I do have a small Simon Miller nerd pet peeve, which I do apologize for. When I saw these 4 together, the Gates of Agony, Ricochet, and MJF, I was like, quite clearly, that was meant to be the Hurt Syndicate. And now, for whatever reason, we broke them up. Now, there were some rumors and speculation going around, but we'll leave that until we get some solid evidence. But that part I am giving a down to because it didn't really make any sense why Ricochet would want to help MJF, even if he does hate Mark Briscoe, and it would have been way better if this was the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, can you imagine how insane they would have come across? I just thought that was a shame. I mean, even if I'm wrong, that's what we should have done, especially because the breakup between the MJF and the Hurt Syndicate was so drab. Just getting it down. When we did get to our main event, which was Mercedes Moné and Athena taking on Toni Storm and Alex Windsor. Toni even threw a Austin Powers reference out there. I was like, that's right. 2025, that's really relevant. I'm only kidding. This was super duper whooper fun, and everybody in it is pretty damn good. Mercedes even freaked out after the Austin Powers line, so she tagged in Athena. And of course, this is when these two struggled to exist, because Athena was like, get it together, man. It's just somebody saying a movie line, what is wrong with you? When, oh my gosh, Mercedes Moné did listen, and she opened up the rope so Athena could do a dive 2025, put a 1 on the counter, and even though it looked pretty good, she went crashing into the announce table. I genuinely hope she's okay. Alex Windsor then did a senton dive onto everybody, so that also gets a 1. And you could just tell they were feeding off the crowd here. They were laying their stuff in. It was a pretty solid main event. Toni Storm got the hot tag at one point, so Alex Windsor could get the hotter hot tag later on, because of course she is from the UK. When she got Mercedes Moné in the Scorpion Deathlock, and you're not going to believe it, Mercedes tapped out. This one, the ref was like, excuse me, I don't want to be that guy. But she is not the legal person when, man, AEW shot this great. Athena came flying off the ropes with the O-face and she pinned Alex Windsor. Now listen, I get it. Surely the official should have alerted them earlier. But in terms of creative finishes and just doing something different, this was so damn good, especially because the production of it was really, really excellent too. There is something about the women's tag team divisions, I suppose, in all companies. Like we did some great finishes with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss too. Everybody needs to take heed. Just a way to do it. Before all this too, Athena had gone nuts and done a power driver onto Toni Storm on Sim with the steel steps. So afterwards the doctors were checking on her like, oh my gosh, is she going to be good for Sunday? And we had a big face-off between the 4 women that will be competing for the TBS title, John Travolta. I really liked all of this though, and I thought it was smart booking too, because of course Alex Windsor did get a visual victory, although Athena did get a proper pin. And given that both those guys are probably going to lose come Forbidden Door, well, that's the way to do it. Because they're up now, but they're about to be down, which is the whole point of my show. But this is easily getting an up, a really good end to a really good Dynamite. And the crowd absolutely helped with this as well. I think there was about 8,000 plus people in the Hydro, so there was an electric atmosphere, and it's probably going to be more crazy on Sunday, so I am going to give it an up. And yes, if you are going, make sure you come and say hello. We will be doing the ups and downs live, but of course I'm going to the press conference, so you're probably already going to go home. That's fine, I'll do it to no one. I've done that before, but mostly, make sure you enjoy the week, because it is a good old time. This bold a-hole will see you soon.